When did your family realize you weren't the failure they thought you were? I'm 28, and my family introduces me at parties as their biggest failure who quit medical school to wipe asses at a nursing home for $12 an hour. Last Easter, my mother literally interrupted saying grace to ask if my facility offered a bulk discount for dumping confused old people because grandma kept forgetting our names and they needed to start shopping around. My cousin Tristan paid for a billboard near my apartment that said, "Some people save lives, others just delay death," with my graduation photo next to his Harvard Medical School acceptance letter. Grandma's 90th birthday party became my worst nightmare when Tristan clinked his champagne glass and announced to 200 guests that not everyone in our family inherited the success gene, but even failures deserve love. He actually made me stand up and wave while explaining that I was living proof that participation trophies create adults who empty bedpans instead of performing surgery. My mother grabbed the microphone to add that she'd forbidden me from discussing my job tonight because nobody wanted to hear about adult diapers during dinner, and then she laughed like it was the funniest thing anyone had ever said. That's when Grandma rocketed out of her chair screaming, "These people broke into my house," and tried to claw her way past the guests toward the exit. My aunt tackled her like a linebacker and pinned her wrist to the table, while Grandma shrieked that we were stealing from her and someone needed to call 911 before we killed her. The entire ballroom watched my mother announce, "This is why we're putting her in the cheapest dump that takes Medicaid," while Grandma sobbed and begged her dead husband to save her from the intruders who'd kidnapped her. I pushed through my relatives who were screaming at me to stay away and knelt beside Grandma's chair while she thrashed against my aunt's grip. "Listen to me, Eleanor. Your husband Robert just called and he's watching through the security cameras and he says you're safe, and these are your friends who came to celebrate your birthday in that blue dress he bought you last week." Grandma's thrashing slowed as I used the exact tone and cadence I'd perfected through 1,000 hours of clinical practice. "Robert says to tell you the woman holding you is your daughter who loves you, and she's trying to help, and he's proud of you for being so brave." Within 2 minutes, Grandma's eyes cleared like someone had flipped a switch, and she looked at me with perfect recognition. "Oh, honey, don't forget we have that appointment Tuesday with Dr. Richard about the new dosage since my cognitive scores went up 30%. The entire room turned to stare as Grandma casually mentioned how I'd been driving her to the Neurological Institute twice a week for experimental treatments that cost $8,000 a month, which I paid out of my own pocket. "You know, Helen," she said, turning to my aunt with diamond-sharp clarity, "while you were comparing prices at memory care warehouses, this one was injecting me with breakthrough medications that reversed 2 years of brain decay." Before anyone could respond, Dr. Richard from the Institute appeared at our table. "I apologize for interrupting, but the review board needs you at tomorrow's emergency meeting since your protocol is showing the best outcomes we've seen in 20 years of research." He looked at my stunned family and added, "Your daughter runs our memory research unit and her work is changing how we treat dementia patients." "She cleans bedpans at a nursing home," Tristan shouted while his Harvard friends stared in shock. "I run the memory center at the Neurological Institute," I said, finally finding my voice after years of silence. "That nursing home you keep mocking is where I developed the treatment that brought Grandma back from the edge." Dr. Richard added that I had a 2-year waiting list and had just been nominated for a federal research award. My mother's face went white as she whispered, "Why didn't you tell us?" And I looked her dead in the eyes and said, "I tried 50 times, but you were too busy laughing at your own jokes about me being a professional ass wiper."